Hi, welcome back to the Leadership Help Desk where we have a problem. Will the Ellen Show be canceled and what the heck happened? My goodness me. Over here, we're going to do a little analysis. We have the situation, their reaction, the reality, and management advice. This will apply to most all of you entrepreneurs and small business owners. What the heck happened? What happened? Uh, we're getting all kinds of complaints. And I would like to say, too, on a little side note, with the virus, it's like everybody's moody. Everybody's worried. I mean, imagine in a time like this, people are out protesting. I don't even know if they know what they're protesting. In my case, where I am, we have the COVID threat. Uh, the economy is basically dead, and they're striking at the port, which means the government doesn't get customs duties to survive. It's crazy. But what is our situation here? We've gotten some complaints, and it started in April, right when the COVID thing happened, and people didn't know at the Ellen Show uh, if they were going to get paid, what the situation was. There was no communication. And then the complaints started coming out. Although they've been around for years, seemingly, some of the complaints, I'm not going to list them all, it's too depressing. But potentially, there were some crazy things going on at the Ellen Show. And intimidation, bullying, racist, everything that goes against the Ellen brand. Now, how can the Ellen brand of be kind, I don't watch the show, be kind and on camera, diversity, kindness, generosity, charity, understanding, all of this, and then in the background, behind the scenes, we have bullying, intimidate, potentially, I'm not there. I'm just what I've read on BuzzFeed and Fox and all those places. Intimidation, bullying, harassment. Uh, you can be replaced. Everybody wants to work here. You're nobody. Apparently, Ellen's being mean, uh, standoffish, and whatnot. Now we have back here, because I don't have a whole lot of room, the reaction. Which typically, if accusations like this come out, and we don't know if they're true or not, but Warner Brothers is looking into it, we do have a reaction. And the reaction says that basically Ellen has admitted to being aloof. She wasn't on top of her game. She wasn't paying attention. She trusted her top managers. All of these are lessons for you as a business owner. Um, what else? She does take responsibility. She needs to do better. She wrote an apology. Some say that that was, a real apology. Some people say it was a fake apology. We all know that in $1 million situation, multi-million, that lawyers were involved. So, were those her own words? We don't know. And she basically left the day-to-day operations to the producers, which are being accused of all of these things. Now, we have to look at the reality. I'm being fair here. Uh, Ellen is standoffish, aloof, not on top of her game, and all of these things. Well, think about if you were Ellen. Ellen has done over 3,000 shows over 20 years. And there's a lot of pressure. She has to be on top of her game. She has to be in the zone whenever there's a TV show. And she's got to know the guest, she has to know the line, she has to know the monologue, and all of this. So, one of the comments was that when you see Ellen, you're not supposed to talk to her. When you read that, you are. If you see Ellen wandering around the office, you are not to talk to her. Listen, she's got a lot to do, man. She's got to stay focused. She has to get in the zone. She doesn't want to hear about your sick grandmother. She doesn't need to write an autograph for your cousin's friend. She has to stay in the zone. So that means that the employee, if you don't explain these things, they see her as being mean. I'm taking up for her a little bit. I'm taking up for her some. Uh, and she has 200 employees, over 1,000 employees over 2 decades, which shows there is turnover, but it is Hollywood, right? So another comment, they say she knows shit is happening, but doesn't want to know about it. That's not good. But after 2 decades, as an entrepreneur, you kind of get soft, and you're looking for the final, the goal, to just let's get out of here. Let's be done with it. So actually, in this case, if she had just explained, or the producers or the managers had explained to all the employees that, listen, there's a lot of pressure. She, you know, she needs to stay focused. You'll have your time to chat, right? Explain why there's a rule of not talking to Ellen. Now, so that's the reality. She's under a lot of pressure. Uh, Maybe has admitted that some things have gone wrong. But what is the lesson? How could she have avoided all of this? And I call this, and it's a little blurb out of a marketing textbook. Cherish thy brand. Although after 2 decades you might not really care about your brand anymore, cherish thy brand. In her case, it sounds like maybe there was a little burnout, maybe some attitudes had built up. That happens to everybody. So drop the attitude whenever you can. Try to become more grounded. Uh, Become more involved. They said she wasn't around as much. Well, that happens. It happens. She should have been. If she cherished her brand, which might just be gone, she would have stuck around and made sure that things were going right. Another lesson we have here is manage the culture. Every manager needs to manage their culture. And it appears that the culture might have gotten crazy at the Ellen Show. Or the Karen Show. Neuter the producers. They got some explaining to do, and I think one of them's already on the way out. Instill values. This little diagram that I have is, this would be Ellen, and this would be the three producers. They say that in Hollywood, the buck stops with the star, especially when the Ellen Show is Ellen's brand, and she has executive producers, and I believe there were three of them, and she should have spent more time with them, not taking the situation like, okay, everything's fine, but taking time to instill values into those three people. If she had done that, we would not be in this situation. Build trust with the employees. There seems to be widespread lack of trust with employees. It wouldn't take long, although with 200 employees, it would have to be over time or in small groups. We build trust. They can trust us. Hey, and we're doing that. We explain why I don't want people talking to me like right before the show. Uh, that's not the first time I've heard that. Bob Dylan came to Memphis, and they had to build a tunnel so he could not see anybody until he got up on stage. You also hear the story from Sylvester Stallone. And that's pretty crazy because that involved his housekeepers. Don't look him in the eye. Well, you got to explain that stuff. Maybe Stallone was writing scripts, manuscripts, and he wants to stay focused, and he doesn't want to talk about your grandmother or sign an autograph for your cousin's friend. Take time to listen to all. And this relates to organizational justice time. Some companies have policies for organizational justice. At the company I used to work for, I was told in orientation, and I know examples of it, that if you feel like you've been mistreated by somebody and then the executive producer blew you off, you had your time with the Ellen. You got to care. But here again, after 20 years, you might not just have it in you. I think that's why Seinfeld quit when they did. They were on top, they were still sharp, everything was organized, everybody was paying attention, and we just quit right there. Maybe the show is going on too long. Uh, know that people act differently around the boss. That's been mentioned in the articles too. Even the executive producers. Everybody. As the boss, you got to know, you got to realize that people do act differently when they're around you than they do when they're with their coworkers. So these are ways that Ellen could have avoided this situation. Principles of management, principles of leadership, instilling values, managing your culture, building trust, building relationships, making sure that the place is fair and open and there's communication that is for real. So, my suggestion at this point, if any of this is true, and I don't know if it is, it's just what I've read, that maybe the Ellen Show should change her name to the Karen Show, because all of the values of be kind and all of this actually turned out to be something totally opposite. So if really they could just change it from the Ellen Show to the Karen Show, put on camera the potentially real culture and values that exist in the building, and then we got another 20 years.